Alright, welcome back everybody. The video previously today I explained asparagus staging and all that. So in this video here what I'm going to do is explain a little bit more on exactly how to get to the moon. And this time I actually brought enough fuel to do everything. So I'm doing this mostly because some of you watched the how to get to the moon thing and are still a little confused on exactly it's done and everything. So what you want to do is you got to get your ship in a circular orbit or close to circle. I mean, I'm off by 55,000 meters here, so I got 155. And what we're going to do is see how the moon is behind Kerbin right now? I mean, we can't see it at all no matter how hard we tried. So what I have here is we are faced in exactly a prograde, which means if I burn the engines right now, we'll go faster. So we're going to set target as the moon. Not a problem. Just go like that. And we're gonna make sure we're set prograde. Now I don't have any stabilizers or SAS control units on this, so turning it's a little sluggish without using the engine here. Alright, now we're gonna time warp just until the moon pops over the horizon. So time warping, go a little bit faster. Slow down, I know it's coming up, there it is. Alright, so the moon just came over the horizon, just like that. So I'm going to use the engine so we can turn a little bit faster. But now we burn towards prograde. We want to point right there on the horizon. We're not pointing at the purple, we're pointing straight at 90. That way we're just increasing our orbit size. As you can see, the apoapsis now is going up. What this is going to do is the moon is moving, so it's going around counterclockwise at all times. And what I'm going to do is as my apoapsis comes out, I'm also going counterclockwise. But since the closer I go to apoapsis, the slower I go because I'm coming back for a turnaround around kerbin. So you have to, this is pretty much the easy way to time how fast you come out so that the moon and you are essentially at the same spot when you get out to apoapsis, which does take some time, but since we have the nuclear engine, it is slower, but we're using a whole lot less fuel, and I brought a lot more fuel this time. So we just give it a little bit of time here, and if you notice, the further away we get from kerbin, gravity goes down, so it exponentially increases how fast the apoapsis goes up to this point. Remember, the moon is only at 11,400,000 meters, so that's where we want our apoapsis, ideally. Now we will get a capture long before that. So we just keep on going, keep on going, keep on going. This does take a while. This is going to other planets and moons and stuff like that is always what takes the longest. Regardless of how good you are or anything like that, this is always the long part. You sit there and you burn and you burn and you burn. And eventually you'll get there. And if you notice, I drifted off of 90, so I have to reset that so we get optimal speeds back. Alright. Now you can see that it's starting to speed up here. And as the fuel goes down, our acceleration goes up, but not by much. I mean, we're pulling less than 1 G here on the G-forces meter. Each knock is 1 G. Alright. Alright, now is when we start to look at making sure that we don't overshoot, undershoot, and stuff like that, because here in a minute the apoapsis is just going to shoot out there. You can probably tell that it's going a lot faster than it did when I was closer. I mean, you can see the numbers here. They're, instead of counting in thousands or 10,000s, now it's starting to count in the hundreds of thousands of meters for every 1 meter a second we add. And we're going out, and if this works the way it should, and it normally does, see these two, that's our closest approach, and you can see they get real nice and close, and as soon as it does that, cut engines. You are pretty much done once this happens. The orange is showing your path when you go around the moon. The purple is going to be our orbit if we don't slow down around the moon. Purple, bad. We want to avoid going back into an orbit like that because it's extremely hard to get captured again. because our periapsis is now way up there in the millions, and kerbin apoapsis is definitely way above the 12, or the Mun is at 11 million and that's at 12 million. So once we're at this point, we want to time warp until we get to that encounter. And if you put your mouse over the encounter, it says that when we are here, the moon's going to be behind us. But on escape, the moon's going to be right there. So in that whole time, we're going to be going from the moon being here to here. So that's plenty of time for us to lock in and slow down so we can get captured in an orbit. Capturing in an orbit is just slowing down enough to where you then, instead of escaping from the moon, you are actually being wrapped around it. Alright. Now my game, for some reason, likes to freeze up for a minute right here at encounter, so what I do is I slow down beforehand. That way I'm not time warping through it all. See, now this changed. We're no longer worried about the orange. The orange is now what would happen if we continued off on the path we're on. Now, right now our apoapsis is not there because this circle is way too big and it just leaves the gravitational pull of the Mun. So to bring that down, as you know, to change apoapsis, you burn at periapsis. Now if it's too big, that means we need to slow down. And see, we're pretty close to an equatorial orbit. I mean, we were off a little bit with our capture and whatnot. But we come here to the periapsis. I need to burn engine a little bit to get this thing rotating. It's a fat rocket. Once I get it turned around to here, the retrograde marker, which is the yellow with the X in it, I'm going to blast as fast as I can. And hopefully not overshoot. There we go. Now I'm going to try and stabilize. Now to get it closer to 270, you just burn more towards 225. But that's a different video altogether, and knowing where to burn and how and getting things aligned nicely. But as you see, our apoapsis just came into play. Now we're going to shrink it down to a nice, lovely landing speed. Well, not speed, altitude, because landing from this high up is a pain in the ass because you're trying to fight going up and down and that sort of thing. There we go, they flopped, which means it's circularized, and now we're burning off the periapsis. And for the Mun, I like to do a 20,000 meter approach. Some people do 10,000, but I think some of the new mountains and stuff with version 0.21 added some mountains that are a little treacherous and might go up that high. So I do like 20,000. For this, I'm going to go a little bit lower. 15,000 seems good. So now we also have to shrink our apoapsis. So I'm going to warp over. And the game will automatically change the time warp as we get closer. There we go. And once again, I got to burn to be able to flip the rocket around. There we go, I got it flipped. Now we're on the dark side, so my solar panels aren't here to keep the pod charged. Excuse me. So, if we run out of power, we won't be able to turn this thing unless we use engine power. Right, here we go. Burning now. Burning, burning, burning. Now we just wait until it gets down to about the same thing. 15,000 meters. It looks like I corrected it, and it's now pretty much an equatorial, unless you look at it from that direction. But that's all FUBA and doesn't really matter. And we pretty much got our flip. So 13 and 18 averages out to about 15, so it is technically a nice looking orbit. Now, a stable orbit could be where the apoapsis comes out and the periapsis is close. That is, of course, a stable orbit. I just like to make things circular so that no matter where I do my landing, it always works out nice. So for landing, come back out to our craft. Alright. Now it's on the dark side, so this is all yicky, but I'm going to extend this second panel here. I only had the one panel open on this side, so we're going to ditch the nuclear. There we go. Nuclear is ditched. Now these 3 rockets are now our landing rockets. So what I'm going to do for visual sakes is I'm going to time warp until we come over to the daylight. It just looks prettier, works nicer, all that stuff. Now, to be captured in the daylight, since we're doing a horizontal burn more than anything, we're going to drift pretty far and the sun's rotating, and we might get into an eclipse of kerbin, all that stuff. So we're going to start burning at about now-ish, and what we're going to do is wait until this blue line intersects with the surface. So, of course, to slow down, to make it so we land, we burn retrograde. And at the same time, I am going to try and fix... Well, that actually doesn't matter at this point. We're no longer doing orbital maneuvers. So these nice, strong little motors will do that for us. There we go. Blue line intersected. Perfect. Now, as long as we keep pointing, I'm actually going to rotate too, so I can get the up-down look more easily. Okay. Now I'm going to get the main landing gear out. If you notice, I have 2 sets of landing gear. These little ones are for kerbin, but since we have fuel and rockets and everything, I wanted the bigger ones for the main landing. And yes, our rocket is relatively top heavy, but that shouldn't affect landing too much. Now I time warp until about 5,000, but I'm going to slow down here. Right about here. I kind of want to land in this crater, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to slow down fast enough for that. I don't think I'll be able to slow down fast enough, though. And as you can see, fuel is dropping pretty quick, but we don't have a lot to fall. We're coming in horizontally, which is allowing us to... Uh-oh. Emergency cheat. Need to go up a little bit too, so we don't run into things. That was almost bad. Apologize for the cheating and everything like that, but what can you do? Alright, my game just derped there. I don't know if that's going to show up in recording or not. But Xfire here wants to show its face for some reason in the video. Not sure why. But now we just play with that retrograde until we come to a landing. And not knowing how high up I am or anything like that, or how steep this hill is a pain. But looks like we landed. And we're rolling, so... Oh no! Luckily, hopefully, this doesn't go bad. Alright, this is going bad. Things are getting worse. We lost our parachute. But now I'm just hitting random buttons. Here we go. Alright. So should be good now. Although we're not going to be able to safely land on kerbin. Crap. Well, like I said before, it's pretty easy to get back up on our legs. We just do that. Roll, so I'm oriented. Now I'm going to want to pull up to land. So hopefully that flips. And nope. Looks like it's being a little bit of a pain, but I think I might be able to do something pretty cool with this landing leg. If I can keep this balanced on it, go like that, and then click that. Ugh. This is the hard part with Kerbal Space program. So if you screw up a landing like I just did, you have to go through all this to be able to get it up there. But I think I just got it. Hey! Don't. There we go. Alright. So technically, we landed. Hooray for us. Now we have this random one leg strut, and we're missing our RCS, and I think both solar panels, yep, both solar panels are gone, and no parachute. But that's okay, Jebediah doesn't mind. So to finish cheating here, just because I screwed up the landing, excuse me again. If you see here, I have a decoupler and then more rockets. And it looks like all three survived, which is a miracle. So for takeoff again, we're going to throttle up, decouple, and blast. Okay, and now we're going up fast enough. Going up. Now, just like orbit around Kerbin, we want to do this at 90. So we wait until apoapsis, then burn at 90. Luckily, the gravity here is low enough where you can do it pretty slowly with very little fuel. And I am sorry for this X-Fire thing showing up here. I don't know why. I think I hit a button. Whatever. There we go. Flips that. And then, if we can go fast enough with the fuel we have, and we should. I brought plenty of fuel. Should go like that. And... oh. Well, just for fun, I had RCS originally for this. See, RCS, and yeah. In fact, I'll ditch that and do the rest with the RCS as I planned, but since I lost the tanks, I'll just do infinite RCS. Okay. Now, yep, there they go, they're firing. You switch to docking and hit W to go faster. And what we're going to do is we're going to, just so it's as efficient as possible, we set up a maneuver node. We go, how fast do I need to go to get that? Looks like our escape won't bring us in. That is interesting. Let me see if I can't futz with it a little bit here. See if I drag it to a different spot. See if we can't get a better. No, that's just doing that still. So we come over here. There should be a spot here. There it is. Bam. And go like that. And remember from last time, we just need to get below 30,000. I went way below 30,000 there. There we go, 22. That works. So in 2 minutes, I have to change velocity by 166 meters a second. Now, with the RCS that I did have, I definitely had enough for about 200 meters a second change. But, throttled up. Alright. We're going to deal with it the way it is. Okay, and there. Oop. Starting to wobble. There we go. And we sit here and burn that RCS. And this is just to get Jebediah home, and normally we'd have a parachute and landing legs, but I really screwed up that landing because X-Fire wanted to do its own thing, and I have no idea why. But, here we go. Burning, 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 burning. And this always takes a while, so I'll use physical acceleration just to get it up out of the way. Reset that. Burning, 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 burning. And due to that being there, it's throwing off our balance and everything, but what can you do? Not much is what you can do. I don't know why that resets every time I come out. Ugh. Alright, one last one, more than likely. And there, we should be doing what we wanted. Let me remove the maneuver and check. We actually did more than what we were supposed, so now we're going to go in by about 9. So, come out of that, and boom, and we're coming in now. That is how you go to the moon and back, and yes, I had to cheat again. Wah, Crammy River. And Jeb is not going to survive this, I can guarantee it. One, we're coming in really steep, and two, we're missing our landing legs and all that stuff. So yeah, I can even put out the legs and... Wait a second here. I might be able to recover this. If I come in like that, and use RCS, I just might be able to slow us down enough. We will see, though. I highly doubt it, because RCS, to be honest, is not that great of a propulsion system. It's meant for maneuvering for docking, but it does produce some thrust, and I might be able to get us slowed enough where the one landing leg here will finish off and be like a crumple zone on the front of a car, so Jebediah can hit his face on the windshield. He likes windshields. I saw him licking them earlier. Yes, Jebediah licks windshields. I'm doing my best here to slow us down. No promises, though. I really don't think it's going to do it, guys. And gals, if there are any of you watching. Don't think it's quite enough. And no. That was horrible. But you guys get the idea. I'll come here just so you can see one more time while I give you a recap of exactly how to get to the moon, since I did that at the beginning of the video. Getting to the moon is pretty easy. Getting in orbit, you guys all know how to do that by now. You slow down so your apoapsis appears. But you're going to be in a circular orbit. Once I find the moon, there it is. You're going to be in a circular orbit, and you're going to wait until the moon pops over the horizon like that. And that's when you start burning and stretching your apoapsis out towards it, and you'll see the two approach symbols come in, and they'll shrink, shrink, shrink. Then they'll show some crazy orange and purple orbit stuff, and that's when you want to time warp over there into the orange. Once you hit the orange, you want to slow down so your apoapsis appears, then do whatever you need to do with your orbit there. And then you want to look into a horizontal landing, not so much a vertical one. A vertical one uses a lot more fuel, and perhaps in the future I'll actually get my fuel estimates right and be able to land and everything without having to cheat. But until then, I'll see you guys next time.